So what to do when you've tied the knot with a company having a negative work culture? Identify if it's really toxic. Let's explore what signs to look for if you want to establish that your workplace
Of symptoms that one will begin to see. So, one very common thing is that there are no boundaries around work. That includes the way one is expected to devote time or the manner in which relationships shape up in a toxic culture. Another would be that people fundamentally don't trust each other. They're coming from a space where they give an impression that they have a hidden agenda or their motives are unclear, or a culture where making mistakes is punished or reprimanded. So mistakes are not really treated as a stepping stone. They are not treated as an opportunity to learn and grow. But there is a negative consequence to making a mistake. Another sign of a toxic workplace would be that the outlook one has towards one's co-workers or colleagues, it is one with contempt. So, the basic dynamic of how people are relating with one another is a win-lose dynamic instead of a win-win dynamic.
There are two options that we have as employees in this case. Number one, fight it out. Two is flight.
Fight or flight response comes from a part of the brain which is known as the amygdala. All right, this is in your hind brain, and this controls emotional response, such as fear or anxiety or aggression, so on and so forth. So in such situations, you need to have a sufficient amount of personal awareness to not let your amygdala take over. All right. See, if you let your amygdala take over, then the ego gets involved, and then situations will typically only worsen. Fair. So, what needs to happen is that your reason and your fairness, your calmness is what should direct you in such situations. This is your prefrontal cortex. This is the medial prefrontal cortex, the front lobe of the brain. And it's also known as the executive center of your brain. This is where vision and strategy and reason reside in the brain. So, this is what should be deployed in such situations, and not your emotions.
The toxic work culture across, or is it specific to one department? Now, because one could be could to shift departments based on not quit me entirely. So, is this possible? What's your take?
I think changing departments is a limited solution. See, if you are senior enough and you have experience of multiple functions, then it may be possible. But in general, shifting your function or your department requires a proper plan. See, the knowledge that you need to operate in a function like IT is very different from the knowledge that you require to operate in a function like finance or HR or marketing and so on. So shifting functions may not always work. Even shifting industries or functions, it generally requires a very well thought out plan, because there are different degrees of switching difficulty. So if you look at switching industries, that is relatively speaking easier to do, because most functions will go across multiple industries. So sales is a part of most industries, marketing, accounts, finance, HR, supply chain, customer service, product development. These are functions that exist across multiple industries. They are in the FMCG industry, they're also in the healthcare industry, they're also in the metals and minerals industry, so on and so forth. But switching functions is harder because of what I just said, that the knowledge that you require as a software engineer is very different versus the knowledge that you require as a supply chain professional, right? And if you're trying to switch both, then that is the hardest. Then you need a dual accelerated learning plan to be able to learn both aspects, not only the industry knowledge that you will require, but also the functional knowledge that you will require.